Hey guys, Patrick here, and today I just found out about something that I think is pretty interesting. DSP, DarkSydePhil, did another interview recently, and why I say another is, I'll get to that in a second. So DSP is someone who is very adverse to interviews typically because basically he needs the interviewer to fucking kiss his ass the whole time and feed him very favorable questions, which is why the only interview that I know that he has ever done since, becoming a lol cow is with the quartering, and that interview was dog shit. It was so bad that the quartering even gave like a preface at the beginning of the video where he's like, listen, I know that some people would rather I went a little bit harder, but I there's a game of cat and mouse, a give and take, or whatever the fuck he says. Basically, it's meant to preface why he was so soft during the interview, which led to the interview being very bad because it didn't have any of the questions answered that anyone actually cared for. Now, I heard about this interview because I recently heard DSP bitching about how it went after the fact. And so I was like, oh shit, he did an interview, and he explained in this video that, like, basically he was looking to reach out and do a video because Moist Critical basically shit on him and called him an e-beggar and shit after watching probably about 2 minutes worth of, like, DSP clips of him begging. And so this probably did something to Phil because Moist Critical is probably the biggest person who has ever talked about DSP. And so to have, like, one of the biggest, like, internet personalities of all time basically shit on you probably sent him into overdrive, which probably actually led him to break, his needs to be interviewed very specifically. So there's this podcast called the Side Scrollers Podcast, and they did an interview with Phil. And apparently this interview was 5.5 hours long. Now, I'm not going to watch a fucking 5.5 hour interview with Phil. But thankfully, Dick Stroking Phil Vlogs, which is a really good, like, DSP highlight channel, basically shrunk this interview down to an hour, called DSP's Disastrous Interview Summarized. And so we are going to be taking a look at that today because I'm very, very, very interested to see how this went. I will be watching this at 1.5 times speed. This video is about an hour, so hopefully, it won't be an hour, but we'll see.
Today we're diving in deep with the most hated man on the internet. Nothing is off the table today, and we're going to go for as long as we need to go. Let's get into this. I'm excited to bring on DarkSydePhil. Phil, how are you?
Oh, the camera's on now. Right?
Oh my god. Damn you. Dick Stroking Phil Vlogs. So they also do some funny edits, which you will not be able to see because I cannot capture it, but it's not the meat of what we're here to talk about. I want to see how DSP does during the actual interview.
I don't even know.
Hello. Well, let's get into this, man. I'm excited to have you on. I think this is going to be a really telling hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be. So I was told pretty much after we announced this, I was told you should not come on. I was told not to interview you. Why do you think that is?
I groomed someone in the past, spending $100,000 on a mobile game. I don't think it's rocket science. People don't like me for various different reasons, and they come at me with so many accusations, so many crazy conspiracy theories, and every time that I address it, it's completely counterproductive. It doesn't help anything. It just exacerbates worse. All I'm going to do is not answer the questions you're going to ask me, not provide any additional information to things I've already said. I'm just going to be here for a fluff piece. You guys are going to kiss my butt.
So nothing's all
Oh my god, this shit's so good.
table today. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Nothing's off the table. I've said this to the guys here. I'm begging and shilling to my viewers, and that money goes right into WWE champions. Ask me anything. I will address every single thing anyone wants to ask me.
Could
I very briefly just make one statement? I love your show. I am a longtime fan. I've watched every episode of your show since you rebooted it.
Philly just...
Now, what's pretty funny is that DSP, after this, basically went on to, like, shit on them after the interview didn't do so. After they shit on him, like, the next day, he went to shit on them and was like, basically saying, like, all the success that they got recently, that's because of me, because I was on their show. No one watched them before me.
killed our show by giving us an endorsement. Thanks, man. The questions that I'm going to ask today, they're a good mix of questions that have been on the internet. They've been questions that I want to know. There's questions that some of your biggest detractors have asked me to ask you. And I think that's important. I want to get all sides of this. So I think a great starting point for here is when you're streaming, who is streaming? Is it Phil or DarkSydePhil?
Whew. Well, it depends on if I'm playing a game that really is, I'm dying a lot, or I'm playing an online fighting game. I'll always ham it up. But that's kind of my shtick. That's always been kind of my shtick. And I think my actual fans know that. You're not going to watch a Dark...
Now, he's been saying this, like, recently, like, within the last year about, he's been saying, like, oh, it was a shtick. It was always a shtick. And it's like, was it a shtick at tournaments? When you were a well-known dickhead? Like, you know, and not to mention this shtick, as he calls it, you know, it's cited as one of the main reasons why fucking people hate him. So it's kind of weird that he kept this shtick going for like 13 years or whatever the fuck, knowing that it was tanking his popularity, and he was just that committed to the bit, man. Like, he was like nah, you know, I've committed this far. It's obviously not true. It's just him, you know, revisionist history Phil trying to, you know, cover up past mistakes, but, you know.
DarkSydePhil playthrough and get any kind of knowledge of really how to play a game at a good level, because he's not good at games.
So DarkSydePhil is your hamming it up, and right now you're just Phil?
Yes and no. Again, I mean, it's cool.
Well, what is it? When you say there are times that I'm over the top, give me an example of what that means. It's almost like you're sending mixed signals to your audience, and most people, they haven't watched you for 15 years. And
when you woke up Panda Lee out of bed when she was sick to make you dinner, was that a shtick? Was that DarkSydePhil or Phil Burdell?
They don't know you.
It's hard to tell. They're both assholes.
I'm not going to walk me through that. Provide me with an example of what DSP is versus Phil.
Sure. Right now I'm playing the game. It's called Wolong Fallen Dynasty. It's very much meant to be like a From Software style game, like Dark Souls. Things are going to kill you with 1 to 2 hits, right? I don't like it.
Well, clearly you just need to get good.
I will say those things in my content, but in the heat of the moment, oh, instant kill, cheap death. This game sucks ass. It's the worst game ever. The game devs don't know what they're doing. Blah blah blah. That's the DarkSydePhil over the top persona kind of coming through. In fact, the reason people are watching me play that game is because they want to see that over the top reaction. A lot of people put a filter over what they say and do.
Yeah, to shit on you, like. People are watching you so that they can watch you rage to shit on you for it. It's not your fans that like it. It's not them going like, yeah, Phil, yeah, speak the truth. This game sucks. It's people being like, oh my god, look at this fucking whiny baby again. And these are the people who he fucking hates watching him. Who he will ban to donate money to shit on him, which is fucking stupid because you're getting money. Let them shit on you. Who cares?
Why? Because they're trying to be marketable. I have never filtered myself on the internet. When I say things like, oh, this game I really don't like because this is unfair, do you think that...
Yeah, that was a bit of a detriment. With Isaac Himmler and all.
Don't be happy about it? Of course not.
But Phil, hold on. Like, do you think that those game companies are like looking to establish a relationship? They're not. These companies are looking for streamers who stream to 5,000, 10,000 people, right, as opposed to a couple hundred.
It's funny because you'll watch one of my streams and say, well, Phil gets around 200 to 400 viewers a stream. But in reality, when you look at my metrics on YouTube, actually, those are like thousands of different people because people are coming for different kinds of content.
But are they sticking? You have these new people coming in because they want to see a new game, not necessarily because they want to see you. So
yes.
You early on had this perception of the king of hate. That was your thing, the king of hate. Do you feel that still follows you around? There's this hate around you, this negativity around you, right? Do you think that has followed you to the point to where that has been a negative detractor for you, the whole hate moniker?
Absolutely. I used to be a competitive Street Fighter player back in the 2000s.
Let's fast forward, right? This has been well established since a decade ago. Let's talk about today.
Wouldn't let him do the whole 10 years ago. The history that DSP likes to say every fucking time, like every pre-stream. 10 years ago, I played Street Fighter and I took 4th in Evo.
Today, though, do you think that the king of hate moniker is still relevant?
Today it is not. I had a revelation. I was like, I have to move on from my past in any way that I can. I have to try to get rid of this moniker. This is something that people were actively using to weaponize against me. They were going to businesses that I was associated with and telling them, you have a bigot on your website. Do you know that? So I said, I have to stop this. It's
not because you were called the king of hate. It's because, like, you said shit like the fucking N-word and went on a whole rant about how Jews must die. One time a white character, there was an interracial kiss on screen right before Phil's eyes between a white character and an Asian woman. And Phil's response was, tastes like chicken fried rice or some shit, some Asian dish. I'll never fucking forget that. It's like, Jesus Christ. He makes racial jokes when, like, they're not even applicable. Like, it's just a love story where one man was white and the woman was Asian, and the fact that they were interracial was enough for Phil to find it comically hilarious.
It's like rebrand myself, and now that's why I do not live by that mantra anymore.
What have you done, Phil, to change the perception of that? Did you say, look, I'm leaving it, I'm going to come back, but I need time to kind of rethink this? It's still the same channel, still DSP, still DarkSydePhil. Like, what have you done to change the perception of that?
It wouldn't matter if I went away for 2 months and rebooted my channel and renamed it or whatever. There is such an overwhelming stigma against me on the internet that it wouldn't work. These trolls would just...
That's not true. KO Gaming, like, had some really good success. There was a video that he bragged about that went viral. It had, like, over 1 million views on it or whatever, and it had pretty positive reception, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think the channel got demonetized or something. There was some issue with KO Gaming where he just fucking abandoned it. Either it was, like, too much work or it got demonetized or something.
Follow me no matter where I go, what I do. No matter how much I change. They don't want to believe it, or they pretend like the change hasn't happened. If you were to watch my content, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, hell, 2 years ago, you would see a difference. Like, for example, up until 6 months ago, I still look like shit. I'm very much crowdfunded by my viewers and fans. It's they who contribute to everything. Just in the last year, I started doing React content. It's the lowest form of content on the internet. I hate it. Terrible content.
Let's talk about something real quick that could add to that stigma. There's still jokes that are made. I want to play one for you really quick and just kind of get your reaction.
Oh.
Okay? So you know where this is going. I want to watch this so we all understand what's going on here.
All right, boys, prepare the slave trade. You're selling it right off for profit. He made a joke about child trafficking. This is what DarkSydePhil is. What do you think the joke was there? I'm just curious. What do you think I was trying to joke about?
That you're selling that girl to the slave trade?
Okay, I'll approach it from the detractor perspective.
No, I want to hear your perspective of what you meant. Like, for me, that would have put me on the detractor side, because it sounds like you were making a joke about selling that little girl to the slave trade. How is it not that?
You just saw that clip completely out of context. That sheriff is a corrupt sheriff. He is actually orchestrating a situation to
Okay, but that's, like, that still doesn't change what the joke was, but okay.
try to murder people inside a building to protect his secrets.
The context that you explained didn't make it any better, I'll be honest.
That's
It feels like a big leap from going from a sheriff who is, like, trying to kill people to seeing a little black girl and thinking slave trade. You know what I mean?
No, you said it. Now you said it.
See
You said
what?
You said black girl.
It was.
That's correct. And herein lies the problem. I didn't think that. I didn't even see that. I didn't think
Bullshit.
that. This is a scumbag sheriff. He's literally lying to everyone. If he's going to traffic someone for profit, I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know if I believe that.
Was that your reasoning behind Life is Strange 2 when you saw a black male nurse and made a joke about him selling the main character crack? You just didn't see color, right? It was purely, kind of a coincidence. And the fact that you gave him, like, a black voice, that didn't matter. DSP gives that voice to anybody. It's because he doesn't see color, guys.
You don't have to. Oh, she's a black girl. Make a slavery joke. Absolutely not.
But that's what you did.
If you're a homo
Ah!
and you're still paying for
I should get ad block.
electricity, then I've got some.
I feel like we can go on for an hour about this clip, but let's talk about this. Seems like your biggest detractors are some of your earliest fans. Why do you think that is?
I've been doing this for 15 years. My first 5 years that I did it, I had absolutely no effort to make it professional at all. I was being a jackass on camera. Someone made a video, and the video was called "This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 2." I'm just raging at this game constantly. They made this montage, and it blew up with popularity on the internet. And what ended up happening was people would take every playthrough I did moving forward and make a "This Is How You Don't Play" video about it.
Now, that's partially true. Like, there was the "This Is How You Don't Play" was in response to already looming criticism of Phil that he wasn't listening to. He was being a fucking dickhead, and people were like, Phil, we don't like that, and he just didn't give a fuck. And so the "This Is How You Don't Play" came to fruition, and it's not just that DSP, was like, oh, they made this, and then it turned everyone against me. It was also your response to it, where you tried to copyright strike it and get it taken down, and then later in the future, when other "This Is How You Don't Plays" came to emerge, you tried to get the ad revenue off of them and get it to yourself. So, that shit didn't help.
And my fan base turned on me.
So your fan base turned on you because of a video that somebody else did? That doesn't make sense, Phil.
Did you get bitter when that happened? Because when I hear,
Oh my god, yes.
do you think that bitterness changed the way that you were a content creator?
I don't think so. In hindsight, today I look at it and I'm like, that was an opportunity. I could have taken that and run with it. I could have done my own. But instead, I reacted so bitterly to it.
Which he did try to do with KO Gaming, again, to try and revitalize it. He tried to have other people to make "This Is How You Don't Plays" for him to then put up on his own channel to have it monetized. And which honestly I don't think is a bad idea. I think that is a good idea. But the issue is that, like, the "This Is How You Don't Plays" isn't just watching Phil fail at a game. It's like watching people shit on Phil is the joke, right? You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if DSP were to do do what Dick Stroking Phil Vlogs is doing right now and take this interview and chop it down and put jokes in it and like put it up on a different channel, it would not garner nearly as much attention because people don't want Phil, like the detractors, which make up most of the people who watch Phil, don't want Phil to actually make money off of his content. They don't want Phil to get the views. They don't want him to get this shit because it's like too late. They know it's all for money. They know Phil is like would be like seething and burning inside and shit like that. So they don't want, you know, so it's not just about seeing Phil fail. It's about like actively shitting on him. You know, these people don't like Phil. They dislike him. You know what I mean?
You're stealing my content, man. That's theft. I outright said this in my videos. You stole my content without my permission. How dare you?
Well, that's what you just said right there. So you're admitting that you added this bitterness. 2 minutes ago, you said that's when they turned on you before admitting that you actually were getting bitter. So don't you think that kind of correlates? Like maybe it was that moment when you didn't own up to the fact that people were making fun of you, being this king of hate guy. They're stealing my shit. You gotta own it. If you don't own it, then you're just a joke.
I'm the popular YouTuber. I'm the guy putting out all these videos and everyone's watching. I'm making money. How can you say that I'm doing something badly? I'm the one who has a successful business, not you. So who are you to throw criticism at me? My reaction to state of play directly fueled the fire for more people to keep doing it and to escalate further. It's my
That's
fault.
true.
It is my fault. I was an innovator at the beginning, and I was a dinosaur 5 years in.
What would you say you innovated?
The improv commentary style and the ability to basically do a full-length playthrough with commentary over it.
It sounds like you're doing the exact same thing, Phil. It sounds like I'm the guy who plays different games, and occasionally come to my channel to get...
I don't think he fucking innovated shit. You know, like he likes to tell this story of you know, this Lost Planet game or whatever, and how the person like beating this boss didn't talk at all, but that was because they were just demonstrating how to beat the boss. They weren't like, it wasn't meant to be like a fucking improv comedy video. Like if this was the thing that Phil was trying to innovate on, like basically doing walkthroughs with narration, that's not the type of shit that he did, or even comedic walkthroughs. It's watching him live play a game and frankly suck at it and then fucking get angry and swear and give like live commentary to it, which is not even remotely what he was sort of complaining about that Lost Planet video that initially inspired him, that he claims to do. So, and not to mention, you know, everybody credits Chris Chan for being the first Let's Player. You know, so was he one of the first guys to get popular with it? Yes. Did he innovate on anything? That's debatable, and I would argue no.
some sort of shock value joke, right? What differentiates you now from who you were a decade ago?
Wow. Geez, first of all, I have a whole new channel where I'm now doing React style content. People are like, Phil, I hate React content. Reacting, that's lowbrow, that's minimum effort. That's the difference.
What's a day like look for you? Walk me through a day of Phil.
Usually I don't wake up. Usually my cat wakes me up. You know, I get out of bed and get ready for the day. I get into the office usually between 10 a.m. My stream usually goes on by 10:45 a.m. my time. And then I do what I call the Level 1 podcast. This is about an hour to an hour and a half long show where it's just discussion. And it could be a wide variety of topics, whether it's my gaming schedule, whether it's special
His
events coming up,
pre-stream.
getting feedback from my viewers on how you like the things I'm currently doing, news stories, all kinds of
Feedback
stuff.
to not
3 to 4
react
hours
on.
of stream. So then when that's done, I have to upload all that content. So, you know, half an hour roughly setting up uploads or whatever. And then if my wife's home from work, I'll spend about an hour with my wife having dinner. I'm right back on stream again around 6:30. My work day starts roughly around 9:30, 10 a.m. and ends around 10 to 11 p.m. Then after that, I maybe have an hour to spend with my wife and relax at night.
Just based off what you're saying right now, that doesn't seem like the most healthy lifestyle. Do you feel that people who donate to your streams are enabling that lifestyle?
So you're saying through people showing up and supporting my streams, they're making me work more. Is that the question?
Maybe you have
No.
the pressure that you're putting on yourself to do that because this is your only job. If they're not there for you, then it's kind of like this mental addiction, almost like getting addicted to super chats, numbers, analytics. You're clearly very much like watching it, so it's
Here's what I'll say. This is not a Phil. This is not a Phil specific. What they are addressing here is not a Phil specific thing, because any content creator who basically making content is their one and only job, whether that be streaming or YouTube or whatever, basically lives exactly like how Phil lives. The issue arises in that the reason Phil is able to live the way that he does isn't like organic like other streamers or YouTubers, because like 90% of Phil's money that allows him to live this way comes from whales. People donating, like a small amount of people, handful of people donating a fuck ton of money. You know what I mean? So he's basically like fleecing these few people out of a fuck ton of money. Is the issue with Phil doing this as a full-time thing. Because if you're just somebody who's getting the amount of engagement, the amount of views and shit Phil does, like you would be getting like a pretty sizable like supplemental income, but you would need a job to support you, and then like maybe your extra money can go to a rainy day fund, for when it rains, and then you spend all the money, like Phil likes to say. But it can be good supplemental income if you were somebody at Phil's level. But the thing is that Phil was super, super fucking high up. He was able to initially organically do this, full time without having to beg or whatever. Hell, he didn't just not have to beg. He could shit on his own fucking fans. You know what I mean? And do this, and he was getting flown out and shit, and the problem is that, he fucking crashed and burned, and then he's still trying to live a very similar lifestyle, and it's like, again, like when he tries to say, oh, I fell into YouTube, or whatever, he didn't just fall into YouTube, he tried to make it a job initially when he lost his old job. He's like, I got 4 months of unemployment, I'm gonna try and make YouTube full-time job, that's not falling into something, and then after that, everything after that, trying to extend your fucking career far beyond its longevity by milking what felt like a few whales at a time is again, not fucking, just falling into shit. That's you, like, forcing it to work.
Obviously on your mind.
I've talked about this many times over the last several years. I went through a bankruptcy because of really bad choices in my past and a combination of online trolling ruining a lot of my financial income and business. I want to make something very clear here. I am trying to put myself out as a victim. That's why a lot of people hate me. Every time that things are getting better, these people will do something horrible to me or my family that ruins financially things for me. 2 years ago, I was a Twitch streamer. 900 subs on one. Things were going good. My trolls took the King of Hate mantra, which we just discussed earlier, and they got me kicked out of the Twitch partner program.
What do you feel that
he said the
did
N-word
to you to get you removed off Twitch specifically?
They organized a campaign. They took out of context clips, bad jokes from back then, which I've already publicly apologized for, and I don't do that kind of stuff regularly anymore.
Well, I just saw a bad clip from a year ago, so that's pretty recent.
Correct. For the most part, that's not.
I know, but what you just said was just disproven because you just made it that same kind of racist joke. So you're making the same kind of like inappropriate jokes that you were back then.
Correct.
So they're right? Are they right or are they wrong? I mean,
they're right in saying that I still make mistakes. I'm a flawed human. They're wrong in saying.
Oh my God.
All the time. Twitch told me we launched an investigation into your history, and we found that over the years you have used harmful slurs.
What did they say that you said?
I believe it was the N-word.
did you say the N-word?
Yes.
Why do you want to even be a streamer anymore? Facing this, like, wouldn't it be better for your well-being and like your relationship with your wife and your family to just stop doing?
So that was quite clearly an edit because DSP denies that he fucking ever said the N-word. He did say it. It was quite obviously a slip because he was saying, something G numbers or whatever. Like, it's hard to make out exactly what he was trying to say, but he slurred his words together and it came out the N-word. It just did. And the thing is that, DSP was like, I never said it, when he quite obviously did say it. And then, it got clipped and all that shit, and it got him banned. And I think it originally got him suspended or whatever, and then he got unpartnered. I think the reason he got unpartnered, because he never got banned off Twitch, I think he just got demonetized, because I remember there being a very specific, clip of him streaming, and then he's like, all the crowns are gone, we can't take donations or whatever anymore, and it was just, he just got unpartnered, and I think it had something to do with him shitting on, a charity fund or some shit. Don't quote me on that. That's, that's very vague. You know what I mean? Memories in my head. But I'm pretty sure that was, what the issue was. But I remember because, he did get, a 2-week ban, and then that turned into, a 2-day thing for him saying the N-word. So, this is it's a bit different than how it actually came out.
Doing this for a little while, get a normal job, and just kind of take a breather?
A lot of people have said that to me. My mother said that to me.
Wait till I see your mother. You're in real trouble.
But, and of course, there's always a but.
His mother said that to him on his wedding day. And he talked about how he and his mother formed some sort of 10-year plan or whatever for him to get a real job. This is all shit he said in his video where he explains his wedding. And then, that just fucking disappeared. No mention of that ever again after that.
If I did a 9-to-5 job, I'd never make as much money as I do on YouTube or Twitch or whatever.
That's really what it comes down to, is streaming is more profitable than getting a 9-to-5.
That's 50% of it, I would say. Because the other half
That's
is
fair.
a full-time streamer in 2017. This now, I would say for 2017.
People shit on Phil for that. Here's what I will say. People shit on Phil for that, for basically chasing the money or whatever. But honestly, DSP makes $100,000 a year doing this shit. You know what I mean? I don't fucking blame him for not wanting to go out and finding a real job and doing this shit instead. Are you kidding me? The main issue that then comes in is that he's fucking reckless spending. You know, DSP, you know, he makes $100,000 a year and then he spends $120,000. You know what I mean? Which is what got him into debt, which is what caused the bankruptcy. So, you know, that's what the issue with that is. So it's like a man who's that's ultimately people's issue with Phil isn't necessarily that he's chasing money. It's that he's chasing money and then fucking burning it and then crying that he's poor. It's a little hard to have sympathy for a guy like that.
Today has been the absolute best time of my life, professionally and personally. I really feel like my fans are my friends. They're really good acquaintances. I learn stuff from my audience.
Who give you
I
lots
second
of money.
jokes instead of actually making meaningful content.
I've seen clips of you say that your audience is not your friends, right? So, like, are they your friends or are they not your friends? You guys picking up both sides of your mouth here.
My audience are not close personal friends. At the same time, this right here, this laptop, this chat is my social interaction with the world. Today's like, Phil, let me tell you something. Something horrible happened in my life. And I came by your stream. At the end of that stream, I felt so much better. A fun, meaningful experience to me. And when people give me that feedback, that lets me know that what I'm doing is meaningful. This is the best time of my life because I'm helping people.
I think that every streamer has a relationship with their audience that's unique. But it seems like your relationship is a little different. You're very open that you are funded by your audience. What's wrong with having sponsors compared to having to rely on crowdfunding or your audience on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I have always, in 15 years that I make content, always been critical of people who shill. If I react content...
DSP can't get fucking sponsors because he shits on sponsors. He shits on products. You know, it's like there's a compilation that's like of Phil, like when he plays a game, he doesn't just shit on the game. He's like, oh, fucking great job, Capcom, and it's like, fuck Sony, fuck Capcom, fuck Treyarch, fuck Nintendo, fuck EA, fuck Atlas, fuck DICE. What does the pig say? I'm sure there are quite a few people who would listen to this and recognize that song. But, you know, it's because that's what Phil does. He doesn't just fit shit on the fucking, you know, game. He shits on the fucking developer. And sometimes even the fucking creator. Like, when he's, like, playing fucking, you know, that one Castlevania or Metal Gear Solid. He's like, fuck you, Kojima. Oh, yeah, great job, Kojima. And he just shits all over him for no fucking reason. And it's like, who the fuck's gonna want to partner with a guy like that? You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's just like, that's why Phil has a hard time getting sponsorships. I think the last sponsorship Phil had, that wasn't the chair or whatever, the last time he had like a sponsored game stream, he lost the sponsorship, and because people told on him for this, he was caught, he was playing the game, and honestly the game sucked ass. Like, so I don't blame Phil for saying it sucked ass, but what was fucking stupid is that, you know, when you got a sponsorship, you know, you can't, like, say that the game sucks ass, and he, like, played it, and, like, the entire stream, he's like, wow, and then, like, in a chat log or whatever, there was footage of him being like, yeah, this game fucking sucks donkey dick, and then, you know, the game developer found out, and they revoked their sponsorship, and DSP, I'm mad, and it's like, well, that's why you can't have sponsorships, Phil. And then he's like, well, the reason that I lost it was because of the detractors. No, it's because you couldn't keep your fucking mouth shut.
Last year, I watched someone who apparently is supposed to be doing a heartfelt message about something when they're crying on stream, and on top of the stream, there's ads running.
But hold on, Phil, because there are times where you say, look, hey, I really need, I'm in a really tough spot now. I got this coming up. On the same screen, you have a tip tracker. Same type of thing. Like saying, like, hey, I'm in a really tough spot right now. I really need you guys to help me out. And in your words, I'm going to be eating lunch meat sandwiches. What's wrong with lunch meat sandwiches sometimes?
There's nothing wrong with lunch meat sandwiches. I eat them a lot. There's a tracker on the screen. You watch a 4-hour stream I put out. Yes, I get up on it way too much. It'd be great we get some more support on the stream or whatever. Then I just sit there and talk about it constantly. But there's a difference between that and you can tell someone turned on a stream today to make money. There's people out there that I feel like the only reason that
You.
because they saw dollar signs.
It sounds like projecting right now.
Also, that is what just Phil does. Fucking ad.
Phil, you just said a few minutes ago, the reason why you still do this is because you can make more money than a 9-to-5 job.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big half. I don't know, man. It seems like you're asking your audience for money consistently. The worst thing you can do is look at your audience as a dollar.
Constantly.
I don't agree with it. But when
Not
money comes in
consistently.
and you reach a goal, you put on your vest or whatever, how are you taking that money and are you reinvesting it into your content? I mean, I get you have to pay bills. I get it. What value are you adding to your audience's experience to further?
No. He doesn't just have to pay bills. He has to pay daily bills because the way TSP talks, he's got fucking bills every day. They don't just come once or twice a month. I don't know what Phil's got going on because, like, me personally, all my bills come at the end of the month. But him, he sometimes at the beginning. So that's how you get the sometimes twice a month. But DSP, he's got a new bill every day. That's got to be paid.
that meaningful relationship that you're offering?
If we hit a monthly members goal on YouTube, or we hit a sub goal on Twitch, now instead of just doing our normal routine gameplay, I do an interactive event with the viewers. We'll talk for a series of weeks. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see a big react event?
What is a react event? What does that mean?
React would be, for example, let's say there's a documentary, 2 hours, right? That's going to take a major chunk out of my normal schedule. You hit that event, now we're going to do special things. You know, this big react event, it's separate from all my other content, special things around it that I normally wouldn't do. I have a series, I know this sounds stupid, Feasting with the King. Basically, I order a meal, and I eat a meal with my audience.
Still using the king moniker, I see.
Right, King of Hate.
Not the King of Hate, that's the thing.
It doesn't matter. You say the king, that's what it was, so people are going to make that connection.
You're right, I agree there. But anyway, no, I try my best to invest, you know.
How?
Well, like I just said, doing something above and beyond.
That doesn't cost any money, though.
Correct, but then, you know, ordering 2 entrees instead of getting DoorDash. I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is, where's the money go? Would you really like to know?
It's not that we are asking the people out there that have been supporting you. I feel like they want to know. You said, like, what do we want to know? This isn't for us. This is for the people out there that are like,
would you really like to know?
it's not that we are asking the people out there that have been supporting you. I feel like they want to know. You said, like, what do we want to know? This isn't
Sorry,
for
I
us.
had a little
This is for the
hiccup
people out
there.
there that are like, what about the $5,000 a month?
You know, you went through bankruptcy. That's pretty public. The $5,000 business expense thing has been talked about by your detractors quite a bit. They say, what could you possibly be spending $5,000 on? What do your business expenses look like?
Okay, so first of all, I believe that the $5,000 a month number came off of a tax return. You guys probably know more than me because you've probably been inundated with this for 2 weeks while
I don't.
so far removed from this.
I want to hear it from you.
I think what happens when I filed for bankruptcy, a lot of information goes public. And I guess there was a number that was thrown out there that it looks like Phil spends $5,000 a month on business expenses. Now, what are considered expenses that a tax attorney wants to know you're spending every month? Your mortgage, I guess that's part of it. I don't know.
Oh, hold on, Phil, you've been doing this for 17 years and you don't know what your business expenses are? You don't know what you get tax write-offs on and stuff?
No, I don't.
That's a scam!
Here's the thing, all right?
That's
Really,
fucking bullshit.
This stupid WWE champion bullshit.
We'll get to that, but I want to stay on this for a minute. Walk me through this.
I would assume expenses are including everything that I do, and that could include mortgage, any insurance that I'm paying that relates to the business, you know, health insurance and or medical costs, utilities, and all of that. I'm not going to sit here and go back to a 2010 tax return.
This is from 2010? This is $5,000 a month?
Oh, excuse me. I did say 2010. I meant 2020. That's totally my fault. I meant 2020.
Well, but in the vast majority of time, winners in bankruptcy experience some sort of relief. Whatever the debt is, it's gone. Right? Why do you have to go back to going back to your audience and ask your audience to crowdfund your content?
The bankruptcy goes through around mid to late 2020, but there's still debt that remains. There's still taxes. And taxes is a big thing because for years there, I was not able to pay my federal taxes properly.
You couldn't pay them or you didn't prepare to pay them properly. There's a difference.
Hold on, I thought you said that you paid a guy to do your taxes.
I do.
It seems really irresponsible for somebody who...
The out-of-state tax attorney. Yep, because he said that multiple times, that he's like, oh, this fucking dumbass tax attorney wasn't... I moved to a different state, and this dumbass tax attorney, he didn't know that the tax laws were different. Yeah, because he doesn't practice in that state. You should have gotten a new fucking tax attorney. He's not the moron for not knowing the laws that he doesn't practice. Like, you're the idiot for using a tax attorney from a different state.
Who works online and has done so for 17 years to have a tax person.
Do not please. My tax guy is great.
The money is already in your account. So why would you have trouble spending? Why would you have trouble with that? I'm really having a hard time following this. It's either being spent before it's time to pay taxes, or I don't know. I don't know. Please walk me through it.
Okay, so I have 2 revenue streams. Daily income that I get from my viewers, like tips, let's say. The other revenue stream is the other income that I get from YouTube. Ad revenue, super chats, memberships, and all of that. Daily I get tips, and that essentially is the money that I'm using day to day to pay some bills, go grocery shopping, buy a new game for the stream coming up. The YouTube money that comes in behind the scenes is what I use to do all my ongoing recurring payments, my mortgage, my car.
Okay. Now, he talks about this fucking, like, you know, pay some bills, go grocery shopping, all that shit. Now, again, bills don't come daily, and you don't go fucking grocery shopping daily. You should go grocery shopping once a week. Now, here's the thing, another thing, is that DSP constantly lists going out on a date night with his wife as a fucking need. Like, it's not a need. It's a luxury. It's a want. There are plenty of couples who are struggling to get fucking by, you know, and they don't go out on fucking date nights, you know, hardly ever, let alone once a week. But DSP talks about that as though that's a necessity in his life, in his marriage.
Bankruptcy happens. Great. I'm actually getting more popular on Twitch. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Every time in life I feel like I'm getting ahead, something happens and screws me over. I'm serious. It's like a comedy of errors.
And it's normally
Then
himself.
why not remove all that and just do something different? If you keep running into a wall, at a certain point, don't you need to like self-reflect and say like, look, man, I'm running into this wall. I should probably not be doing this or change my approach to it.
Let's be honest. Major factor is money.
Major factor. It sounds like it is the factor. I mean, it sounds like you're just spending the money as it coming in instead of saving or preparing for the next month.
I need 1 year to make content and not have my trolls.
It's never going to happen.
I agree
Never.
with you. I now agree with you. I know that now. Let's say right now, cold turkey, I quit YouTube. I can't find a job out there that's going to pay what I'm doing now. Who's going to hire a 40-year-old guy that hasn't done anything besides, operate an online streaming business?
Nobody with that attitude. You're already defeated. Not even worth trying. You're putting yourself in this hamster wheel that Craig was mentioning earlier. It sounds miserable to me.
Also, it's not, you don't have to fucking quit streaming and then go find a job. You can actively, as you are streaming, look for jobs and find a job. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you know what I mean? Let's say I quit cold turkey tomorrow and do that. No one is fucking asking you to do that. No one's even, like, literally saying for you to quit altogether and get a job. People are saying for you to get a job and then maybe also do this because, you outside of begging, you can't make enough money to support yourself. And that's ultimately where people get mad. And the thing is that even if DSP were to get a job, the issue isn't that he doesn't make enough money, because he makes a fuck ton of money. The issue is that DSP has no fucking idea of how to be financially secure. You know what I mean? DSP accrues debt like we breathe. You know what I mean? So the issue isn't the job. The issue is Phil. Phil needs to learn how to do his fucking finances.
I'd just like to kind of continue on with that, right? Do you have a business plan? Are you saving money? Because it doesn't sound like you are. It doesn't seem very forward thinking. Dude, you're 40 years old and you're going to be doing this when you're 60.
Currently, do I have a business plan? No. How can I set a plan when these people won't allow me to even have any level of stability in my life, even a few months?
You make another business plan. What choice do you have? The only choice is to make a new one and continue moving forward.
I will not be beaten by these people.
What you just said sounded like you were.
I do have a future vision. The problem is, if I fully explain it, they're going to try to ruin it. I should have said that. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to be here on stream every day saying to people, toss me a few bucks. Oh my God, that's the worst feeling every time I effing do it. That's obnoxious. I just want to play games and chill with my audience.
I'm sorry, Phil. Begging for money is never a good look for anyone.
Completely agree. I can't dispute it. I wouldn't beg if you didn't keep messing with my income.
Oh my God. Oh shit, man.
Tim adores his wife, but since Junk Sleep gave him a crick in his neck,
That's
he
cool.
can't turn
I
to
don't
see
care
him.
about Phil.
You had an
Well,
opportunity
actually, I do.
with Keemstar to go on there for it was $50,000 was being offered to you. $50K. Why not do that? That would clear up so much of your financial burden.
Because that's not what happened. You've been told a story that's not true. I have to tell you what actually
Okay.
happened. Over the years, this guy's a horrible reputation on YouTube. And basically, he had been pretty nasty to me a few times, tweets and things like that. If you have a bad day, they're having a good one because you had a bad day. What kind of content is that? You're benefiting from someone else's personal drama and misery. All of a sudden, it was last year,
So-
he's making public tweets. Someone tell DarkSydePhil.
A big problem about DSP is that, like, he loves money more than anything except for one thing, and that's his fucking pride and his ego. Which is, again, part of why his whole, like, this was my shtick, doesn't make any fucking sense, because Phil fucking, the worst thing to Phil is getting shit on. He hates that more than fucking anything. To the point, DSP is that guy who fucking cuts off his nose to spite his face, right? So it's just like he's like, oh, Keemstar, he shits on me or whatever, so I don't want to associate with him and whatever, despite the amount of new people it will bring watching me, despite the amount of revenue it will bring in. He's like, this guy talks shit on me, so fuck him.
Talk to you right now. Contact him. Tell him I need to talk to him. There's $50,000 on the table, and he needs to contact me right now. First of all, is that how you start a business relationship? Is you scream on your Twitter to have someone come talk to you?
Traditionally, no, but we're not dealing with Coca-Cola. We're dealing with Keemstar. You throw out $50,000 on Twitter, people go, whoa.
You're doing that same thing. You're bitter that he's not approaching you respectfully.
Why not just take it, cash the check, and then you're golden?
Eventually, I had to DM him on Twitter to even get his attention because he wouldn't contact me. I don't want to talk about it in the DM. We got to have a phone call. Okay, that's reasonable, right? Let's have a phone call. I wait, the call never comes. It's been like 2 days, the call never comes. Maybe he's not serious about it. I don't know what's going on in this guy's head. All of a sudden, I'm on streams. He starts calling me when I'm on streams. There was no offer to me of being on an interview for $50,000. That's a lie.
It sounds like there's miscommunication here. If we were to get Keemstar on the show right now, would you be open to that?
Absolutely not. Not after all the stuff that happened after that.
So you would not be open to talking to him right now?
I'm never going to do business with Keemstar. Not after the things I now know about him and the other things that he said and done. Absolutely not. I feel like having any association with
Yeah, he said some hateful words.
So how do you square the
Not
idea
at all like
of
you, Phil.
not taking Keemstar's money, but taking it from your audience? You don't know where that money's coming from, right? How do you square yourself with that?
Like, Keemstar money is, I'm taking money for a direct project that apparently is going to be a long-term business relationship with this guy. I'm associating myself with a guy who I
Long-term
don't respect,
business
don't like
relationship.
content that's on the internet. Versus people who watch me, like who I am, like what I stand for, want to support that effort to keep it going. But here's the thing. Can you be held accountable for your viewership?
You are the leader of your community. You are the people that everyone looks to on how somebody should act, how somebody should interact with other people in your chat. I think ultimately your community emulates the hosts. Where's the line? Let's just say you have a community member that you know there's visual evidence of them doing something bad or at least alluding to something negative, something that would be shunned in a normal society. You know they're a part of your community.
There's a couple of people who this could be pointing to, but the one that comes to my mind is, I forget what his name is. I forget what his screen name is, but he's the one that put a hit out on Tevin and called him a fucking North American ape. That one, I think, is the one that he's referring to, because DSP, I forget his name, but DSP, I remember DSP has gone, like, out of his way to, like, protect him and, like, shield him and shit like that, and be like, nobody be mean to him because he gives Phil money.
Community. I'm not going to reference any specific community members.
Derek.
It's not about, specific community members. We're here to talk to you.
So Keem actually just tweeted.
Derek's
I
name
wanna
was
hear your
on
thoughts
screen.
it.
That's
He said,
that is who
live
I was
in this live
thinking
interview.
of.
I called Phil at the agreed times. He ignored my calls for $50K up front to stream to under 200 live viewers, begging for them to pay his rent and bills. Both Wings and Boogie agreed. The only reason it didn't happen was because of DSP. Thoughts?
Blatant lie. He called me when I was on stream. I looked at my phone when I was on stream, wondering why I was getting a phone call. It's just blatantly false.
It's pretty easily provable.
To my knowledge, he never actually called me during the times we talked when he was available. I can't be involved business with what he stands for. I'm the kind of guy that if I can help it, I won't shop at Walmart. Taking a paycheck from Keemstar is kind of like blood money.
Did you start your career on like drama and hate?
Oh, okay, that's different. And here's the thing. You're right.
That's different.
I've changed now.
I'm sorry, you sound like the abusive ex-boyfriend trying to get back with his girl. I've changed now. Don't worry about it.
Adam, you're talking about something that happened the first time.
I know. I just call it as I say. It just sounds funny, like hearing that. That I changed now. That line is so I don't know, overused by
I was an
a lot of
online
people.
troll in the Street Fighter community. Absolutely, there was online harassment that happened. Absolutely.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go into WWE champions. Just a real simple yes or no. Do you currently still play WWE champion?
Yes.
Why are you so hesitant to talk about that?
It's nothing that I would think that my audience would be super interested in. But what's ended up happening is, over the years, every little thing that I mention somehow gets twisted into something distorted or messed up by my detractors to make me look bad. This is a prime example of them trying to orchestrate something.
Can I ask you, Phil? Have you ever spent money on this game?
Of course I have, yes.
Have you spent a lot of money on this game?
Good question. What is a lot?
Anything over $100 is too much on a mobile game.
Yes, I spent over $100.
How much money have you spent in this game?
It's definitely total under $1,000.
That's not what people think.
Stop lying.
Oh,
They
I
think
know.
that you're some sort of a whale in that game. Well, we started talking about it, and you instantly went into just attacking other people. You're instantly going to they're making up shit. But you do play this game. You have spent money on it. And I think what's happening is when you're begging your audience for money and then complaining that this King's Feast is too expensive for a $60 meal, and you're stressing for money, and then putting money into a game that is a mobile game that is. I mean, let's face it. Mobile games are not necessary in life. They look like Candy Crush. You're just using them like using.
Also a weird number to go to, under 1,000. Definitely under $1,000. That's still a lot. Only $900.
Your audience. You beg too much. It's not a good look. Why do they think you're well? Where are they getting this?
I don't exactly know. There was an account in the game. The name of the account was They Call Me DSP.
Which is also your Twitter handle.
That's correct. They're assuming that's me in the game. Now, that's not me in the game. It is not, by the way. That is not my account in the game.
What is your account in the game?
That I'm not going to say. And if you're going to say why, because I have an account name on basically my Apple device that kind of crosses over a lot of different accounts. And if I were to tell you information, these people will absolutely use that to hurt you.
So on the record, you're
That
saying
seems like
They Call Me DSP.
Fucking
It's not
stupid
you.
idea, then.
Here's the thing that I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around. That name was changed later to Down from the Rafters, right? Why would somebody, if this is a troll, why would they change the name? If they're just trolling you with They Call Me DSP, why would they then change the name if it's just a troll to begin with?
I agree with you. That doesn't seem to make sense. I have no clue. This is not me.
Also, why would they, if it was just a troll to you, like, they would be dropping, that means they would be dropping thousands of dollars in this WWE Champions game to troll Phil, which is fucking stupid. If you have that much money, then you, like, and you're using it all to troll Phil, you are a fucking moron. But that's, again, why people don't believe that it is not him. It's because nobody would have that cash. And even if that were true, at this point, there is no way this person wouldn't come out at this point to be like, I own Phil and here's how. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be playing this long game still fucking dumping all this fucking money into this shit.
This is not DarkSydePhil.
It's DarkSide Patrick.
Okay, look.
It's me!
There's a lot here. And I'm of the mindset of once somebody gives you money, you can do what you want with the money. But I think that when you play this game and you have this whale that has the exact same Twitter handle that you have, people have been very aggressive with you to the point to where they have leaked bank statements. According to these leaks, there have been hundreds of transactions to the Apple Store, hundreds of dollars. Were those your transactions?
No.
So those were not tied to you at all?
No. see, now I have to get into the identity theft thing. Okay, the bank leaks are not accurate. That's not my account at all. Someone else's account. I don't know whose.
Just so we're on the same page, you're saying that this account that is not yours, that had thousands of dollars fees to the Apple Store consistently, you're saying that that is not your account at all, and they were unsuccessful in hacking your bank account.
They did not hack my bank account. They did not have access to my bank account.
It seems awfully convenient.
Right.
That's not awfully convenient.
You can understand how it's looking from the outside in, looks at this and raises an eyebrow.
From an outside perspective, I mean, you are playing it when you should have been saving for taxes. It is your username. There are all these bank statements that actually correlate perfectly with this game. I'm leaning more towards that side of the story because it makes more sense.
I really don't have a way to prove my innocence without further exposing myself.
Do you have a police report? Did you not go to the police when your identity was hacked?
No, I went to all my financial institutions. I went to the credit bureaus.
You didn't go to the police, though, when someone was stealing your identity. Why would you do that?
I didn't even think to do it. I don't think what would they do about it.
Arrest them for stealing
They would fucking track them down and you could get your fucking money back potentially?
your identity?
I mean, I guess maybe, but
You would
I guess maybe.
on a stream? Why? If they're not yours, why?
well, what do you mean by that? Like, are you referencing a specific stream that I did?
Why did you feel the need to talk about the bank leaks if they weren't yours? There's been matchmaking based off of your life, going to restaurants, big events in WWE Champions, things like that line up perfectly with this bank account. If we were in the court of law and somebody was to bring all this evidence, I think that's the thing that I'm really struggling with here, man, is it just seems like if you would just say, yeah, it was my bank account. By the way, I played WWE Champions. These things are accurate. I think people would just be like, okay, and they'd be cool with it. But it just seems like you keep digging and digging and digging, and there's just like mounds and mounds of evidence. And the only evidence that you're putting out is, well, no, it's not. It doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up.
I guess what you're saying is there's transactions on that account that correlate. That's something that's been proven that I spent.
That's
money on.
the classic
I mean,
DSP
maybe you
though.
went to a restaurant and you said, hey, I'm going to go to dinner.
Just saying it's
and
not
then
me.
There's a transaction at a local restaurant for an amount that may add up to a couple people dining at a restaurant.
If I were sitting where you were right now and hearing the story, you know, I'd be like, she's probably lying. I don't know how to defend myself without putting myself and my family at personal risk, and that's the problem.
Oh my god, this fucking personal risk shit.
Attending ISM World is important to me.
You have my email. Will you send me a screenshot?
You think
of
this
the
guy's
WWE
gonna
account
dox
just
you?
between us? And I will vouch for you either way.
I'll consider it, but I can't agree to it.
I think you got to look at what's the benefit more than what's the risk. If you want to remain on the internet, that would actually do more for you than you think.
There's a tremendous opportunity here for you to be humanized to a lot of people who don't see you as human. I'm trying to help you out here, man. I really am.
Could I bring up one point about these bank statements?
Sure, yeah.
I saw some of this supposed bank statements that are mine. Okay, there's a bunch of transactions on there that say iTunes.
Isn't the iTunes like where the microtransactions from games get charged? So that actually would make sense.
It would make no. You're correct, but the money. Why are there bank transactions for iTunes? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's a lot of things that haven't made a whole lot of logical sense here, Phil. I mean, let's just be real. There's a lot here that doesn't add up.
The point I'm making is the money's in the PayPal account.
Hold on, I know what you're saying. But on PayPal, you can actually use PayPal, and you can click use balance or use your bank account, and it'll just pull the money from your bank account, but using PayPal as the payment service. So that's irrelevant because you can choose where the money's coming from on PayPal.
Every day I'm begging my audience for money. It goes to my PayPal, and then I immediately spend that on WWE Champions.
Right.
Do you play any other mobile games? Do you feel that you're addicted to them at all?
No.
So let's. Okay, you say you're not addicted, although you have been addicted to mobile games in the past, right? You used to play a mobile game that was WWE related.
He's chewing his fingers.
You were addicted to that game. New game comes out. You play that game. You have transactions that line up with major events. I'm getting DM pictures of you in the WWE Champions Discord, right? Make it make sense. Like, this doesn't make sense. I have such a hard time believing that there is a group of people that are so hell-bent, this evil plan to make you look bad, that they're willing to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on WWE Champions just so they can make you look bad. I don't buy it. Like, we're looking at an account that just so happens to be around where you live. That just so happens to be shopping and dining where you're at. It's just way too elaborate, man.
I hear you.
What about these accounts, the Down from the Rafters, the DSP account? Why are they tied to your phone number?
That I don't know, and I don't know what that means. How could they be tied to a phone number?
So we'll move on from WWE, and we'll talk about something else. You have been doxxed. That is ridiculous, right? But you have also been accused of doxing.
By the way, I have your IP, I have your name, and I have your address. So, congratulations, I got you.
Do you think that's okay?
It sounds like a threat, right?
Pretty sure it was a threat.
It
That
is
is
a
definitely a threat.
No, it's not. It was me venting anger.
That's a threat, dude.
Correct. It was me venting anger in a
Thank you.
threatening manner.
You say you've changed, but that racist video with the little girl was only like 7 months ago. It wasn't a year ago. That's pretty recent, dude.
You can say it's racist. That was not what I was
Bro, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. I know you claim that isn't, but it really did sound that way.
A lot of this
'Cause it
conversation,
was.
Phil, has been you deny. You haven't given any facts to back it up. I feel like just across the board, there's this entire mountain of evidence here, and you're just saying, well, no, it's not. When there's a mountain of evidence, you can't just say like, well, no, that's not true.
I think it comes with being one of the most prolific content creators of gaming. No, I don't care. I'm not saying it's good.
He says that
content.
shit
When I
all
put
the
myself
time.
out there that much, there's just that much more to microanalyze. Oh, if we make that video about Phil, you're getting the clickbait views. You're getting money because you're probably running ads on the video. But this is how you don't play. I became the whipping boy of the internet. People pay entire.
See, like, technically he's correct because people do that with other big name content creators who have been around for a very long time. But the thing is that with Phil, there's so much shit and so much of it is negative that, like, it's kind of the inverse. So much with him slips through the fucking cracks because there's, like, so much to keep up on that it's not like, oh, you can just, you know, pick and choose things to make me look bad because I've been around for so long and shit like that. There is so much shit that there is shit that people don't even really talk about because there's too much to keep track of. Like the thing is if DSP was anywhere as big as Chris Chan, he would also need his own equivalent of the fucking Wikipedia to keep track of fucking everything because there is just that much shit. But there aren't nearly that many people, not nearly as many people who are as invested in Phil as Chris Chan, so that's why that doesn't exist.
Their channels are profitable based off just making fun of me, right? They call us loud cows, correct?
Right, low cows, yeah.
Loud cows.
Boogie, we're targets.
Look, you have your detractors. You have people who enjoy seeing you fail or laugh seeing you fail. Have you thought about going to therapy?
I've never formally talked to anyone. I'm not anti-therapy or anything like that. But no, I've just never gotten to that point where I've considered doing or seriously pursued that.
Is it because you think that it's not you, it's everyone else?
No.
That's the feeling I get.
I'm a flawed human, man.
It does feel like you kind of
Even when he had his depression that manifested. I love when DSP says he's depressed because DSP's depression manifests as Almighty Tevin says in him being a really petty asshole, or as DSP puts it, it manifests into him being horny because when he talks about when he jerked off on stream, he was like, yeah, Panda Lee and I weren't sleeping together, and I was just depressed, and I did it, man. And it's like, well, the problem isn't that you jerked off. Fucking people jerk off. Everybody jerks off. The issue is that, like, you made a blunder, and then, like, it was live on stream, which is hilariously embarrassing, and then you fucking denied it, and there's all this other shit around it. You know what I mean? It's just a funny thing. It doesn't really need any, like, to be honest, if he was just like, yeah, the camera was on and I forgot to turn it off and it was just a mistake and all that shit, like, I think people would have been understanding, but the reason that people still go on about him being the guy, is because, he lets it get under his skin and he's still, like, deflects and, like, tries to basically make it like, you can't make fun of me for it. You know what I mean? Because I was depressed.
So people should understand that. And, like, there's been so many times where we've asked a question and your response was instantly blaming other people. That was a consistent answer throughout the entire 3 hours and 10 minutes that we've been live.
We're at 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Now ADT professionally installs Google Nest
Jesus
products.
Christ. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't watch that whole fucking thing because, like, we are 38 minutes. We are 38 minutes into this fucking video, right? And they're at 3 hours. In the interview, you know what I mean? It's like, how much more could there have been? Thank you, Dick Stroking Phil Vlogs, for this video because it really fucking condensed shit down.
But good things for you, right? We don't want negative things to come from this. Adam is correct. And what about this? Well, my detractors, I just go back to it, man. It just seems like there's just this mountain of evidence, JFK level conspiracy theory here, if all this stuff lines up the way it does.
Here's the story, okay? When I was first talking with my now wife, we started dating, and after a few months, she visited for Christmas. Okay, this is Christmas 2017. I took some pictures while she was here, but I didn't take a picture of her face. I just took a picture of her back. I'm not making this up. There were people, my haters, made up an entire fabricated story about that was not someone I was dating. That was an escort that I was paying. The money that I was bringing in on streams.
No, that's not what
European
that
escort
was.
And flying this escort across the globe to spend Christmas with me.
What does that have to do with anything, though?
Well, let's continue, okay? They had evidence of it. Documented evidence. Guess what? The whole thing was fake. It was all my haters.
Well,
no.
Because you're...
It was, he's probably going to say the same exact thing. It was like this couple trying to extort money out of Phil with this lie, and his detractors proved it false.
Detractors actually cleared you of that and said, like, no, this doesn't add up, right? They're the ones who apparently put the evidence out that said, like, hey, this is not the case.
That's fair. Did anything change positively when that was disproved? No, there was someone who made a video about it. Secret Limited.
It does, because here's the thing, is, like, you like to paint the detractors as, like, these fucking dirty, evil people who just want to tear you down and watch you suffer and fucking, and watch you burn and die, Phil. But, like, the thing is that the detractors, whenever shit that happens that isn't DSP's fault, they fucking are the ones that prove him innocent, because it's not a matter of just laughing at Phil and watching him and shit like that, because it's the same thing with Chris Chan. You know, when people were fucking with Chris Chan and they fucking the trolls, like, helped him and shit like that. It's because it's not just about laughing at him, which, you know, or like, you know, laughing at him is the thing, right? But, like, they want as clear and unbiased a picture as possible, because that's the funniest shit. Because that's what makes a lolcow is their own actions doing this shit. If you just fucking lied about what lolcows were doing, it would suck all the fun out of it. You know what I mean? It would be like, oh man, none of this shit was true. Man, that's fucking whatever. Man, that sucks. But like when you hear about these people like Chris, like DSP, you know what I mean? You're like, no way that a guy could do all this shit. And then you look, and then they did. And it's like, oh my fucking God. You know what I mean? You know, so like lying about lolcows takes all the fucking fun out of it, which is why, you know, people who monitor them and report on them and shit like that want to keep it as clear and as open as possible while laughing at them, because they want the record to be straight, because their actions are what is funny.
Someone who once a year makes a very negative video about me, highlights all my mistakes. They made a video documenting this. They called it the escort saga. This gets disproven. You wanna know what he did? He took the face of the escort and put a horse's head on it, and he said, my wife looks like a horse. He never took the video down. I'm making content. I just want to be left alone. They won't leave me alone. They're the ones who continue the narrative. I don't want them to think about the guy who had a whole face beat off on stream. Like, that's so stupid.
So the horse face thing comes from the fact that Kat does have very big teeth. Alright? And here's the thing. DSP probably, like, the reason why people say she looks like a horse is because DSP, you know, before, you know, anybody saw Kat, he was, like, bragging about how, you know, she was his soulmate and she's gonna cook and clean, which is what led to her being called the soul maid, and, you know, pay bills and all this shit. But then he also would brag, like, you know, she's as beautiful as a supermodel. She's so pretty. She's so this. She's so that. Like, constantly going on about her beauty, flaunting it around. And then you see what she looks like, and you're like, oh, she got big horse teeth. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? And then people shit on her. You know what I mean? Because DSP, you know, made a big thing of her looks. That's and then they put a horse head on her because they know it bugs them.
I was gonna say beat your demons, but in this context,
Pretty good.
it's like shit.
Later tonight, the Beat Your Demons t-shirt will be available on the store.
Oh my god! No, that's terrible,
I'm not
dude.
totally good, Phil. Phil, you still there? You look like you're frozen.
Did we lose him?
I hope not.
I was just kidding.
I would not
gotta
be
say, I really
surprised.
didn't mean to make that pun beat your demons. It was just so
Oh,
funny.
great.
I couldn't stop laughing, and I jeez.
he dropped, so he'll pop back in. Phil just emailed me and he said, hey, I'm still here. I might be getting DDoS, not sure. Phil, welcome back. So let's continue. Everything okay?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what just happened. My whole internet went down and came back up, and I don't know if it was my ISP or if I've just been DDoS. I would not put it past them to DDoS.
Oh my God.
All right. Let's circle back on some stuff here, man. We talked about the 5K, but we didn't
Sometimes
really-
your internet just goes out.
5K on anything is a lot, and the idea of a mortgage being a business expense, that's not necessarily true. From a tax perspective, you can take the square footage of your office space in your house, and that can be deductible. But your entire house, your entire mortgage is not something that can be a business expense, right?
I don't think that's legal.
Right. It's not.
Phil is guilty. You look at all this evidence. It's all there.
Suspect is in custody. Call the prison and let him know he's coming home.
But with all that said, I feel like are you spending that money on food, or what are you spending that money on? Because you can pay for meals out and things like that as long as you technically talk about this.
Now later, DSP, when he, in this video, like I saw where I initially learned about this interview, he's like, they keep bringing up this $5,000 number. I don't even know where that comes from. It comes from your fucking bankruptcy statements.
Walk me through once again. What are your month-to-month business expenses?
How about this? Give me 1 second.
This should be fun. All right, Phil is off, and it looks like I wonder what this could be a surprise.
I use paper and I write on it to track things.
JoJo meme.
Here we go. I'm gonna go through this. I'm not exaggerating. Line for line, this is what I'm paying this month. I have a
Okay.
subscription to Hulu. It's $10 a month. Definitely not a business expense. I'm just saying this is where my money goes. I have 2 internet lines that I pay for. They're very expensive because they're unlimited internet. It's it's not an hourly.
Hourly? Who pays for hourly internet?
No, not hourly. I said unlimited.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I meant to say data rates, not hourly. My
Got
bad.
it.
Data rate. I have my dues here where I live.
How much
I
was
live
that,
in a
though?
Community.
You're reading off personal expenses, and that's no one's business.
I'm reading off everything so you know where my money goes.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think it was about the $5,000, the business expenses, that they were like, what is going on with this? Like, how? How is this the case? You were seemingly very nervous about giving anyone any more information that isn't public. You know what I mean? That's not what the subject was about. It was about the business expenses. These aren't business expenses that you're reading off. This is personal stuff.
Here's the thing. If you were to nickel and dime every single transaction I do, I don't know how it's calculated. I'm not my bankruptcy attorney. I'm not my CPA.
It seems like a pretty big moment in your life that you would know.
I never, it's not a milestone. Oh man, I'm so happy. I got $500,000 off my bank.
I'm not saying it's a good milestone.
Okay. A couple things that no one knows. I guess I have to. But let me go put the paper away. I'm going to tell you. Okay, hold on.
the paper had to be
I
put
need the
away right
greatest
then and there.
basketball shoe that's ever
Also,
been
not to
made.
mention,
player?
you know, he could have just. I don't know, like, even he didn't have to give like each individual, you know, thing on the fucking paper that needed to be put away apparently right now. He could have just given the total, right? But that DSP likes to break things up. He fucking filibusters the shit. You know what I mean?
All right, I don't want to talk about shit, but I have to. All right, I'm going to tell you a few things that no one knows without specifics. I've been involved in a few different, legal things over the years. I've been involved with medical issues, my own health and my wife's, medical expenses, legal expenses.
This isn't
If there's
business
some sort of
expenses, though.
medical condition that is causing you to live paycheck to paycheck or stream to stream, you pride yourself on transparency. I can't think of anything more transparent than just telling your audience you have something going on. If God willing, I came out and I had cancer or something bad happened.
It's not that. It's definitely not that. Okay, I don't want to make anyone think that I'm trying to. It's not.
Yeah, DSP doesn't want to give a specific thing because he doesn't want to contradict himself later down the line.
Right.
I have a few chronic.
Like how his back injury was once from playing football, but another time from sitting in a car too long.
Lingering things that come back over the years. In a nutshell, I've been involved with a few legal things, and I've been involved with some medical things. And essentially what's happened over the years is I can't really pay them because of the financial situations that I've been in.
Did you pay any of those things as business expenses?
Isn't it true that certain, like your health insurance premiums and stuff is covered or is tax deductible? I don't know. I get asked this by my tax guy.
Your tax guy was asking you this?
He said, I just got an email the other day.
That doesn't sound right, dude.
I don't know. He knows what he's doing.
But he clearly doesn't because you've been in
It
tax
doesn't
issues.
sound like it.
No. My tax issues are not from before this shit. This guy is great. And I want
I have friends who like do their family fucking taxes and shit like that, and they know this shit. Like, I'll openly admit I don't. I have a friend who does it for me because they can do it. it's one of those people. You know what I mean? But to they know that shit, right? So if I was paying a fucking lawyer and they came to me and said like, yo, is this deductible? Like a fucking tax lawyer? I'd be like, you're fired. I'll fucking find somebody else to do this shit.
people to understand that, okay? I'm embroiled in all these ongoing things behind the scenes that absolutely no one needs to know about. I'm streaming 6 days a week full time. I'm stressed some days, And then I got to come on my stream and hear, you blew all your money on mobile games.
I get it. We understand, which is why we talked about therapy. We talked about all these. We understand, right? We talked about all these things. But you still haven't answered the question. I'm going to ask you this really directly, okay? On a month-to-month basis, how much money are you spending on WWE mobile games and or any other mobile games on a month-to-month basis? Just a straight dollar amount.
This month, I have spent probably $10 to $15.
What was it?
Bullshit.
It's a new game. It's a Street Fighter game.
Okay, the new Street Fighter one. Got it.
Yeah.
Let me kind of move this along. We're going for a long time, and thank you again, Phil, for your time. Appreciate it. We're approaching 4 hours. I got a few things that I want to make sure we hit on before we go. Keem is here, and Keem has said that he will be respectful. He would love to talk. I think this is a tremendous opportunity. Are you open to that?
I'm not doing business with this man under any circumstances.
Yeah, you established that. That's fine. That's not me saying.
Yeah, I'm not trying to broker a business deal or anything like that. Are you open to talking with him now?
I'm curious what he wants to talk about.
So you're okay with him coming on to talk?
As long as he's not going to sit here and insult me.
We're going to bring him on, and like I said, I think this is not a tremendous
Don't
opportunity.
insult Phil.
It's an opportunity to build
His feelings are too
Keem,
important.
Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. And Phil, thank you for letting me on to talk to you directly. I will be respectful. I'm not here to interrogate you, but I desperately want to represent my point of view in this situation between me and you. What I've heard listening to this podcast or this interview is you describing problems that you have in your life. And I actively went out of my way to solve major problems in your life. The reason why you don't like my show and you don't support me is because we covered the fapping situation in 2016.
Well,
that
that's
is the
completely
root.
untrue. You covered it fairly. I don't think you were unfair at all.
Thank you, because I don't think I was unfair either. Because we have no previous history, Phil. The only interactions I've ever had with you is just covering this one story about you.
There's clearly a miscommunication somewhere along the lines. Phil thought Keem started this, Keem started that, Phil did this.
To move on from that, I see a clip, and it's on Phil's stream. He's reacting to my retirement, and he's saying I'm this horrible, evil person, da-da-da-da, and he doesn't support me.
Is that true, Phil?
I don't know specifically what he's talking about.
I don't know exactly what was going off of memory, but it was something along those lines. So I responded to him on Twitter, which I thought was pretty clever, in gaming terms. And I explained to him that, we are roughly the same age. We've been doing YouTube for 15 years each. I'm retiring now, and you're still on level 1, getting nowhere. You're still at the point where you're begging people on stream to pay your bills and whatnot. Imagine you're playing a video game. You're on level 1, and you try the same technique over and over again, and you're dying, and you have to restart the level. You're never going to beat level 1.
DSP doesn't have to imagine that if you've ever watched him play Mario. That's exactly how it goes.
And that's the situation that Phil has been in.
Is there some truth to it? Yes. You are a big guy, Keem. You're huge. You have a giant reach on the internet. Do you not understand that the stuff that you say and do has repercussions for everyone around you. Haha, you're on level 1. Haha, Phil, level 1. Yo, you've been for 15 years, you're just on level 1.
Anyhow, after that incident took place, months went by,
Christ.
and
What a
this
baby.
bothered me because I saw the solution the entire time. Phil needed to do something different, all right? I understand this business very, very well. The detractors are your customers. The haters are your customers, and they're more loyal than the people that give you money. Look at how many people are here. 2,500 people are here. You have a legitimate fan base. I wanted to solve this issue for not just you, but Wings and Boogie. You have more haters than like supporters, right? But really, they're all fans. The solution really is to get the three of you to do a podcast. Those haters are going to watch. They're going to absolutely love that these three guys have come together to make content. Between the three of you, you guys don't have the business sense. But I...
Yo, the Lol Cow podcast? I'd fucking watch that shit. Are you kidding me? That's a fucking great idea, honestly. I'd fucking watch the shit out of that.
I do. You guys are amazing entertainers, but just not in the way that you want to be. You're lolcows, but there's so much value there. We never got to have this conversation, so I do want to have it now, even though I know you're not going to do it. And I believe in this concept and this idea. I instantly get on the phone with Boogie. He loves the idea. He reaches out to Wings. Wings is down, and now it's time to talk to DSP. Boogie called you, contacted you, and told you what was going on, right?
He DM'd me on Twitter, and we had a brief
He's too
conversation
proud.
about DMs.
And he told you that I wanted to do a podcast with three of you, right?
Yes.
So you did know.
Bill, hearing this,
Despite the fact that DSP calls himself the king of hate, he hates people who hate on him. You know what I mean? He wants to be loved. And so that's why he, would never agree to this idea.
and hearing the business opportunity that was laid, I don't even know if it's still there or not, but what are your thoughts right now, given what Keem has said?
I have absolutely no problem doing anything with Boogie or Wings.
But your issue is with Keemstar and his business principles.
Correct.
Even if there's an opportunity for you to remove yourself from quote unquote level one and potentially have an opportunity further down the line to potentially sell the podcast to something and put 50 grand in your pocket initially, that's a 100% no-go for you.
Oh man, this is a discussion that cannot be just made by me. It has to be made by my wife. Sorry, Keem. Can I criticize you fairly if I'm reasonable?
Sure, you can say whatever you want about me.
Keem, you are someone who, when you look at your history on the internet, it's very interesting. Damn, I'm impressed with what you've done. I watched a documentary about you last year. You started off trolling people in Halo, and you turned that into an empire. But when you look at how Keem made his money, again, I'm going off documentaries and things I've seen.
Holy shit, Phil. I gotta say, this is fucking rich coming from you right now, though.
Yeah,
you're,
fine.
you're getting your information from the detractors that Keem has, and that's where you're basing this on. When this whole episode, you have been talking about how much shit your detractors have made other people think about you. Like, do you hear yourself right now?
You're right. From what I've heard and seen about Keem, I call them a misery broker. All right, Keem, on a day when you have a good day, it's because someone else is having a bad day. So
Phil, do you know the internet at all? Do you know the internet at all?
Yes, I do.
Do you see who's successful on the internet? I mean,
Also, DSP shits on other people constantly. The only difference is that he gets shit for it because for him, it's fucking personal. Like, DSP isn't shitting on people to make money or just to be a gossip monger or whatever. DSP shits on people because he fucking hates them. He'd do it for free. Which is why he gets shit for it. It's because it's incredibly personal.
yeah, I would probably be more successful if I talk shit on people, but like I don't, and I do what I can because that's just where I'm at, So it's like you can't be upset when people use the algorithms for their advantage, which Keem seems to have figured out.
You're right. Everyone has what's called a moral compass, correct? I was raised a Roman Catholic. All right.
Oh my God.
I have morals. All right, and value.
Phil, listen, all right, if me running Drama Alert is like taking advantage of people's misery, there's people on YouTube that run documentaries on important things that happen on the internet. They're also in the same situation, correct? They're making money on a newsworthy story. You're saying that every single one of them is accepting blood money.
Let's take a look at your history here. There's been documented cases where you've actually staged stuff.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That doesn't even sound legit whatsoever. You participated in supporting a YouTuber that
I don't
covered
know
a story
enough about
on my
Keemstar
misery,
to
right? If I supposedly did something wrong, you watched and supported another YouTuber doing
say
exactly
about
what
that
Drama
either.
Alert does.
It's a good point.
The difference, Keem, to respond to your point, the documentary is not just negative stuff about you. The documentary is actually covering your entire history. I learned a lot of things about you that I find very admirable.
I know, Phil, real quick, I see documentaries on DSP, but you on the show said half of the stuff's not even true. So
Right.
I'm confused. Is the internet 100% trustworthy or not? Because when it's about me, it's all facts. When
Right.
it's about you, it's all lies.
It's not all fact, and it's not all lies. It's always somewhere in between.
It's
right?
So you
selective.
chose to believe this one when it came to Keem.
In a couple particular cases, I'm not saying that one documentary is the only thing I've ever heard about Keem.
Can we come to the conclusion that me and you both have a bad reputation? We're controversial figures, but one of us is wildly more successful?
Yeah, sure.
Keem, sorry, continue with what you were saying.
So knowing how to help all three of them, and then also creating a business opportunity for myself, right? Everybody wants this content. This is a win. I found
He is
you to
correct.
be so incredibly difficult to work with. Boogie already contacted you and told you that this was about a podcast. Then we finally start talking in DMs, and your response is, well, email me. We're already talking in DMs on Twitter. Why can't we just jump on a call? You tell me to go email you. That is so weird from my perspective. This is how content creators communicate with each other. I was so confused by that.
That's
but
true.
I play along. We set up a scheduled time when we're going to call, and I call you during the scheduled time.
I don't think I don't think I've ever collabed with somebody and had them fucking email me. Because the thing is that DSP is trying to make himself look. The reason why he's doing that email me shit is because he's trying to make himself look more like a legit business, right? He's trying to make himself look more like a oh, I'm a business manager and I'm legit or whatever. That's why I use email, not Twitter DMs or whatever. Anybody I've ever fucking collabed with, I fucking talked over fucking Discord or Twitter DMs. I've never been like, fucking email me, bitch. You want this shit official? Go to my email. You know? Because that's the point of making videos and shit like this is, first of all, it's just for fun. And secondly, even if it's a business or whatever, like, you're the guy who runs your own business. You can fucking bypass all that fucking bullshit email shit. You know what I mean? You can be like, you can just hit somebody up and be like, hey, you want to do something together? It's that simple.
And you don't answer the phone. Oh, I'm sorry. I was streaming. I told you I work at this time. That stream is not more important than my phone call and my opportunity. It's not.
First of all, Craig knows how to contact me. He contacted me to be on the show. It was pretty straightforward. Wouldn't you say, Craig, it was pretty easy to reach out to me? It wasn't hard to reach me, was it?
No, I emailed you.
Hold on, you think Craig is a big YouTuber though? Come on, look at this guy.
This has nothing to do with size. This has to do with just being reasonable. If someone has a business contact line, this is...
It's a bit different, though, for fucking 50 grand. Unless you were going to make 50 grand on that stream or more.
The best way to contact me, please do it. But instead you go to your giant audience on Twitter and you just scream, I want DSP to contact me immediately, $50,000 on the line.
So you got triggered and were on the defensive immediately when you saw that. That's being stuck on level 1.
I'm not thinking about, will people like me, will people hate me? I'm thinking, let me make a piece of content that people will enjoy watching, whether they like me or hate me or whatever.
That's how you internet, right there.
So I had a question for you, Keem. You don't mind if I call you Keem, do you?
No, that's fine. Everyone calls me Keem.
Is the offer still there for this to happen?
I would say potentially, but not really. I took Wings of Redemption and Boogie2988, who were willing to work with me and understood this business opportunity, and I'm setting up a boxing match between the two of them, and I'm going to break the internet with this.
Can I ask
I
a
didn't even know
question?
about
Gene,
that.
is there any line that you won't cross when it comes to content? Do you have any kind of restraint? Because I personally and many others hear this about this boxing match coming up. Wings of Redemption, Boogie, two desperate guys. We all know they're down on their luck. They could definitely use some money. They're kind of unhealthy. Do you not feel that having two people like this, overweight, possibly unhealthy, doing a boxing match against each other?
Boxing will help them get in shape, dumbass. And also, like, the fucking money that they will earn from the fight purse far outweighs the fucking, like, the risk from where they're standing, right? Because it's a fucking huge opportunity. You know what I mean? It's like that classic. It's like that classic thing that people say, like, oh, would you fucking box Mike Tyson for $1 million? Yeah, like, pretty much everybody says yes to that, even if they're small, even if they've never fought before or whatever, because they know they're gonna get their shit wrecked. They know they're gonna get fucking hospitalized even. But the amount of money that you stand to make from that in that hypothetical situation is astronomically more than the danger of getting your shit rocked by Mike Tyson, which is very fucking, like, it's a certainty. And the thing with these guys now is that they're not even boxing Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? They're fighting each other. Okay? But they're still probably going to make a fuck ton of money.
Could possibly, just possibly, be either putting them in harm's way or maybe be considered morally reprehensible because of the repercussions that could happen during this match.
Fuck you.
Every single influencer boxer, whether they're healthy or not, is putting themselves in harm's way for entertainment. They're all warriors, and they all deserve respect. By doing this, they will get respect. Whether people laugh or not, they are going to get respect for jumping in that ring. Both of them have actively already lost weight training for this fight. This is a positive thing in both of their lives.
This is not a serious boxing match, Keem. They're not boxers. They don't know anything about boxing.
Are you going to watch?
No.
Yes, you are.
No,
yes,
I'm not. I don't watch that crap. I don't watch your crap.
Phil, you know,
DSP probably won't watch, but also, like, he's... His arrogance and his jealousy are really fucking showing right here. Like, he again, he can't put his fucking personal feelings aside. He fucking hates this guy.
You know who is going to watch it, Phil?
Everyone else.
Everyone. Great answer. That's exactly what I would have said.
I don't believe you when you say you're not going to watch this. I think you are going to watch this.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
So mistaken. You know nothing about me then, dude.
That's fine, Phil. If I could finish why I'm frustrated and explain myself. This all started with me retiring and you having, a bad opinion on me, and then us having that metaphor of, you being on level 1. When I couldn't get a hold of you, and I called you multiple times, it wasn't once and you ignored it, it was multiple times. I kept calling, I kept DMing you, and you said, oh, I'm streaming now, and da-da-da.
By the way, that's false what he's saying, but I'll let him keep going, it's fine, whatever.
Did he not call you multiple times?
He called me at least once, maybe twice, but I think it was just once. It could have been twice.
The amount of times that you've said during this interview that you don't really remember is shocking. How can you say with such certainty that it wasn't you, or that he didn't call, or that all these things, if constantly... I'm just calling it out. Or, I'm not trying to come at you, but I just noticed that a lot. So now you say, actually, he called maybe twice. Could it have been 3 times? Could it have been 4 times?
It definitely
you didn't even notice?
It was 1 or 2.
How do I know?
3 or 4.
I just,
He's calling me when I said I was busy.
But even then, Phil, you may be busy, but there's a call worth potentially 50 grand plus more on the backside of this that could take 10 minutes.
Phil, now that we're talking about this and we're communicating for the first time, I can tell just by how you're reacting that you actually understand that this was a great opportunity. So that's why it was so important for me to get on the phone with you.
Okay. The reason I wanted it in writing was very simple. All right. Again, you have to understand, Keen, you have a lot of stuff that's said about you on the internet. You know that.
Okay.
You agree to that,
But
right?
so do you.
I'm so sick of hearing that.
But
But
it's so frustrating
if I'm
you
going to
say
deal
that.
with this guy, if I'm going to deal with this guy, I want our conversation in writing. Because what's to stop me from getting on the phone with Keen, having a conversation, and the next thing I know, he completely lies about what we just talked about to get drama on his content.
The conversation is to get the fucking ball rolling towards contracts, dumb shit. He's not just gonna send you a contract. He needs to know that, like, you're good to actually show up and do this shit first. Which, quite clearly, you aren't. You aren't, because you couldn't even fucking answer a fucking phone call.
doesn't make any sense.
I don't listen.
Yeah.
You do hear, you do see it, right?
I do not trust Keen.
How do you not trust the man when you're getting your information from the internet? The internet is not a real place.
I do business with the biggest content creators on this entire planet. Where, like, you don't know anything about me. You don't. If you actually look into any of this stuff about me, you're going to see...
This is a Cleveland club.
Oh my god.
Just have a mindset.
This shit with Keemstar is especially frustrating. Just because Phil is, like, being a real moral grandstander for fucking no reason. They're talking about business and he's like, well, don't you think that's evil? It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like DSP is talking about this as though like Keem's business like deal was to fucking murder kids. Don't you think that's wrong? Don't you think that's evil? It's just laughing at people and talking to people. That's it. And he's like, well, don't you think that's a little evil? I was raised Catholic, Keem. I only shit talk people when I'm morally justified in doing so, such as people I've never met before, like PewDiePie.
I'll effed up stuff, and he's definitely wrong. But you're going to see Keemstar making mistakes and trying to make amends for it if you actually take the time to look into it. I saw Phil begging for money to pay rent and utilities, and I just lost it in his chat. I'm like, I cannot believe you're doing this right now. 2 weeks ago, I was trying to get a hold of you, offering you the greatest opportunity you've ever been offered in your entire career. If this podcast was a success, it wouldn't be $50,000. This podcast would make millions. It would be a wild success. It would be a brand. This is something that would be clipped on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. People would talk about this, just like you're being clipped on your little live stream now, except for we would have an opportunity to monetize it.
Keem, you just said it.
I agree. Listen, it would have exceeded that $50,000 mark, but I don't know about millions. Just because lolcow culture is incredibly niche.
This what you just described is probably the main reason I have a problem with you. You are someone who has
Shut the fuck.
And you think that you're the most important thing. You tweeted on your Twitter.
He thinks he's the most important thing? He's giving you a business opportunity. And you're like, I think you're evil.
I should contact you about a business opportunity. No one does that.
We all do it.
Bill, it's the internet, man.
You
Yeah.
said you've been doing this for 15 years, but, like, do you not understand the way algorithms work, the way anger is addictive, and how...
I want no part of that drama. I don't
Phil,
want to be
Phil,
on a
Phil,
podcast. Keem,
Phil.
you just said my whole life should have stopped because you wanted to contact me. Really?
I did
my
not say
whole
that.
life. You just
No,
said that. Answer
that
the
is
call
not what he
anytime,
said.
Even though I
Phil,
gave you the times to call me.
Can I
Answer
give you
the
some
call anytime at
context?
all.
From the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, every single day, I talk to at least 20 different content creators. And then I run Trombler, right? So I have to get on the phone with different content creators to validate stories or get people's takes so I can, inject that into the story to make sure like what I'm reporting and what I'm talking about is accurate. How all this business operates, right, between content creator and content creator is like Twitter DMs. We have a mutual respect as content creators. We should be able to be in Twitter DMs and then get on a phone call. And you didn't treat me like that. You treated me like dirt.
I gave you the times to call. You called at different times. And we never had another interaction ever again. How was I disrespectful to you?
I don't know how I could work with you. You are very, very difficult to work with, to even communicate with. Please explain to me what you're dropping. Like, what is so important that's happening that you can't get on a phone call with me?
My work, my job.
But this job that I'm about to offer you would pay wildly more and solve all these problems that you have going on.
First of all, you don't know what it's going to solve. That's a huge assumption.
So, look, I think let's leave it here, right? I'm glad you guys had an opportunity to talk.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me.
DSP makes $100,000 a year. If he were to get $50,000 up front, that's already half of what he makes in a year at once. And then he's going to fucking get more because Keem is gonna fucking put ads and fucking promotions and shit like this on this podcast. Oh my god, make it make sense. He's a fucking idiot.
Sure, thanks. Appreciate that.
Yep.
I'll appreciate you hopping on. Really appreciate it.
Definitely.
All right. Hey, Phil, you've been throwing curveballs today, which I did not see coming. All right. I did not see anything at all, but
Story of my life, Craig. Story of my life.
I wanted to play some audio. This is actually, I reached out to several of your detractors. This is from It's a Gundam.
Hey there, Philly cheesesteak. Guess who it is? Your favorite YouTuber. We're best friends. Remember that time you thought it'd be funny to put a restraining order on me, Filbert? Well, Philly, my question is, what the hell did you spend $500,000 on? You didn't pay off your house. You didn't pay off the condo. You didn't pay off any car you own.
God damn.
You're in debt. Where did the money go? Why did you take business loans? What did you use the business loan money for? You never improved your content. You've been using the same camera for nigh on 5,000 years. If it wasn't for, like, the Dutch brothers sending you a new web camera or, like, LEDs in the background, you'd have no ideas. Where'd the money go? You're like a politician in San Francisco. If I went to the mayor and I said, Mayor of San Francisco, where did all that money go? That $120 million you defunded the police with and put it to black communities. Where did it go? You know, Phil, you screwed up. You never should have been a YouTuber. You should have been a politician in San Francisco. You would have gotten away with it, baby. If it wasn't for those meddling detractors.
Is he gonna end at some point?
Is there anything that you feel that you need to touch on before we leave?
Me grooming my ex-girlfriend.
Is that what you want to focus on, though? He
Well-
asked you specifically, is there anything that you want to bring up?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
My ex, I met. She contacted me. I never contacted her. She contacted me via YouTube DMs when they were a thing. That's how long.
Okay, but she was a fan. That's the thing. Is that she was like a fan of you. You had a difference in power dynamic. That's the issue that people have.
This was over a decade ago. She was an adult, a legal adult. People say I met her when she was like 16 and I groomed her for years. I never even.
Nobody says 16. Nobody says 16. Everybody says 17. Because you said you started talking to her months ago or whatever, and then by the time you introduced her to your audience, she had basically like just turned 18. So it's like,
Until she was after she was 18. I'm sorry that I have to bring this up, but I talked to my wife about it. I want to get this out in the open. People say that I'm some kind of a horrible woman abuser. My wife and I met online, casually talking for a few months before we ever started dating or anything.
yeah, you don't
Basically, she
hit
was in a
women,
really bad
Phil, but you do
relationship.
treat them like
Abusive
shit.
relationship. She got out of that relationship, and when she did, then we started talking a little bit more romantically, and then things pursued. Did you ever find the restraining order that she had against her ex because he was hitting her? Never. I feel awful that my wife every day is feeling awful about things going on.
This is the
Why would
first
she
I've
say those
heard of
things about her?
that.
She has nothing to do with any of this. Leave her out of it, all right?
I understand. All right. Well, look, I think this is a great place to stop.
The day that DarkSydePhil appeared on your show, Side Scrollers, was probably one of the most momentous things that you'll always remember. But for me, it was Thursday.
Cringe. Well, that was the interview summarized. Thank you so much, Dick Stroking Phil Vlogs, for condensing a fucking 5.5 hour video down to a 1 hour video. Because, that was pretty concise with pretty much everything that I feel like people would want to see from that. Because that was, sitting for 5.5 hours listening to Phil fucking spill bullshit would probably be fucking infuriating. Thank you to the Side Scrollers podcast. This was this was a good DSP interview, actually fucking challenging Phil on things and giving him like challenging questions and shit like that. This was good. This was a good interview for Phil. And then what I find funny is that, again, DSP afterwards was like, I thought it went well, and I'm surprised they were shitting on me after the fact. They were shitting on you during, man, because, like, they were challenging you on shit. You're surprised they weren't in your corner? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, my God. But that was actually a good, satisfying DSP interview. Oh, man. I'm actually glad about that. All right, guys. Well, that was something. Please let me know what you think about that interview down in the comments. I'm Patrick, and I'll see you next time.